Hello everybody, it's Denise Cox here with Bird's Nest Designs. Welcome to my craft studio. Today we are going to make a really fun and simple card using the Seize the Day stamp set. And we're going to make this beautiful background using some very simple tools. And of course this card features the beautiful new Starry Sky in color. This is one of the card kits, make and takes, that my In Color Club gets for free in their monthly kit. So this is the Starry Sky one, and I absolutely love the way this card comes together with very few products. So let's get ready to do some stamping. What you're going to need is ink pad, Starry Sky, and Pool Party. The C dies that coordinate with the Seize the Day, so that's these guys here. Of course, I have to show you this beautiful one also comes with it. You're going to need a water spritzer, so I've got the Stampin Up, the Stampin Spritzer here, filled with just water. We're going to need a clear block. Now, I have used clear block E, and I like the way this one turned out, so that's a good one to use. You could also use D. You're going to need some adhesive, so I've got my Stampin' Seal ready at hand. I've got my multi-purpose glue. We're going to need some Stampin' Dimensionals, and we're going to need the Starry Sky beautiful new metallic woven ribbon. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. I love the sparkle it adds to your project. Okay, so that's what we need for this card, and of course the Seize the Day stamp set. So let's get started. Just gonna clear some of this off here. I'm gonna put my card up here out of the way so I don't make a mess of it. Oh, and the other thing you're going to want to have on hand are some rhinestones and the Starry Sky Stampin' Blends, and I'll show you that at the end. Okay, so for those of you in my In Color Club, your kit is already prepared for you. All the pieces are cut out and ready to go. For those of you just stamping along here on YouTube, then I'll give you the measurements as we go. They'll also be in the description of the video, so you can always check back there too to get all of the dimensions and a complete list of the supplies used in tonight's card. So first thing we're going to do, start with our Pool Party card base, which is 8.5 inches by 5.5, and it's scored in half at 4 1/4. So I'm going to just go ahead and fold that on the score line with a bump to the inside. Okay, and then I'm going to use my bone folder and run that along the edge here to give it a nice crisp fold. So there we've got our card base started. Now we can go ahead and using this piece here, which measures 4 by 5 1/4, that's going to be our card insert. So we can go ahead and stamp that, or sorry, adhere that to the inside. Of course, if there's some stamping to be done, we can always do that later. Or if you choose, you can do it before you adhere it into the middle. Okay, so I just like to put it on the inside right away, and then it gets that piece off of my desk so I don't get any kind of muck and mess on it. All right, so the next thing that we can do is take our Starry Sky. So this is the Starry Sky cardstock, and it is so rich and beautiful, and this one measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and we're actually not going to do anything right now. We're going to set that aside. So this piece here is going to get layered underneath our stamped piece, which measures 3 3/4 by 5. So when we're all done, that's going to get layered on there. So let's just set it aside. We've got a scrap here for stamping some of these fish. So that's just a scrap piece of basic white. And then I've got a punch out of the Label Me Fancy punch. So if you're not in the club, then you'll need to go ahead and punch that out. And if you are, it'll already be in your kit. All right, so let's do this fun technique. So we're going to take our Starry Sky ink pad. Just open that up. Have your spritzer ready, and then we're going to take our block. So the reason I like to use the E block is because I'm going to just set this right on the ink pad itself. Okay, I'm just dropping that on. You can see the ink transferring to the acrylic block. Just give it a little bit of pressure. It doesn't have to be a full cover. In fact, it'll look neater if it's not. So pull that off and you can see that beautiful ink on there. I am actually just going to move that out of the way for a sec. Okay, so once you have that ink on there, now we're going to take our spritzer and we're going to spritz some water on here, and you're going to see how it's just going to start to smear like so. Doesn't matter if it's everywhere. That's part of the fun of this technique. Okay, so now we can either, actually what we're going to set this down here, and we're going to turn our ink pad, and you can do it either direction you want. I'm going to go this way, and we're just going to stamp that down. Look at that magical ink just transferring to that paper. It's going to look so cool. Okay, let that sit for a second. We'll pull that off, and we have this beautiful background. Okay, and this will just wipe off with some paper towel. Okay, we'll set that aside. So we're just going to put this off. Now, I can see I have some water pooled here. So I'm just going to take that paper towel and just dab at it, just to get those pools off. But we are going to want to set that aside to let it dry. But isn't that a really, really cool way to make a background? I love it. So let's just set that aside to dry for a bit. And then we're going to take our scrap piece of basic white and our fancy Label Me Fancy label, and we'll do some stamping while that's drying. We're going to use the 2 fish images from the Seize the Day stamp set. So I've got those 2 here, and we're going to stamp them in Pool Party. So I want 2 of the larger fish that are facing to the left. Stamp those. This is a very large piece of scrap compared to what I'm stamping here, but that's okay. That's what I had on hand. So we've got the 3 fish stamped there. Those we are going to die cut. And then using our Starry Sky ink pad, I am going to stamp my greeting onto my Label Me Fancy punch out. But again, as I've shown you in other videos, stamping white cardstock on top of my white grid paper is sometimes hard to see. So I'm going to just slip this piece of Mango Melody underneath, and that just makes it easier for me to center and position my stamp set. So stamping with Starry Sky, I'm going to stamp Wishing You Oceans of Happiness. I love that. Right down there on that punch. All right. So I'm not done with my Starry Sky, so I'm going to leave that there. We can set that aside for now. And this is getting dry, but we're going to leave that for just a bit longer. So now we're going to fussy cut or die cut, and if you don't have the dies, then you can fussy cut these fish out as well. I'm going to use the brand new and fabulous magnetic platform. This is available in the annual catalog, the 2022-2023 annual catalog that just got released earlier this month. The sandwich, again, for a reminder, is number 1, so that's your standard plate. Number 5, which is the magnetic plate. Your cardstock. And then your dies, of course, so we can just sit those on there. Okay, and it's completely magnetic, the whole thing, which is fabulous. No more jumping around, chasing your framelits as they pop from one spot to the next. Love that. Okay, so we're gonna run this through. And this is still drying, so it's looking very, very cool. Roll those through. Okay. So we've got 1, 2. And we'll do our last one here. Now this is a self-healing pad, so these marks, yes, although you can see them, you can't really feel them. So it's healing itself, so it's going to last a very long time. We'll put that one on again. And we'll just wheel this through to get that one last Starfish die cut out of there. Okay. That off to the side. So we're done with this stamp cut and emboss machine and the fabulous magnetic platform. Okay, here we go. So now we can start creating. This is relatively dry. If you wanted to speed up the drying process, of course, you could use your heat tool on it as well. But mine is pretty dry, so I'm confident that we'll be able to stamp on this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a tone on tone look. So using Starry Sky ink, I'm going to take this beautiful large seaweed or sea foliage image. Get nice and inky, and I'm gonna stamp that right on the edge of where that beautiful background came in. Now it's not going to be really dark, it's going to be quite subtle, but of course you can still see that, and it's a really neat effect. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is take my Starfish, and I'm going to stamp a couple, again, Starry Sky ink. I'm going to stamp one so it's kind of coming off of that, and another one kind of in here like this. Okay, so you can see how we're creating that beautiful background scenery look. So I'll slide that over. Now I want to stamp a few of these bubbles. These bubbles are probably my favorite stamp in the whole set because they just add such a cute little accent and finishes off the card. So we're just going to stamp these bubbles randomly wherever we think they're going to look adorable. I'm focusing mainly on the edges, as you can see. Maybe a couple there. So I don't want to overdo it, but I do really, like I said, I really like these bubbles. And when you create cards like this with this type of background, no two cards are ever going to look the same. So I find it best just not even try, just sort of make each one its own unique creation. So there's our stamped image. Isn't that pretty? And all we've done is used one ink color, but we've got all these different tones and looks in the background. Okay, so now let's take our card front, and I should have moved it further away because I did get a few little spackles when I sprayed my blue ink, but it's okay, it'll add to the fun. So we're going to attach, just setting this aside so I can see what's going on here, we're going to attach this white piece to our Starry Sky, but not to our card front quite yet. So let's go ahead, we'll stamp that down with our Stampin' Seal. I love this adhesive. It is a game changer for sure. So we're gonna attach that. It's just got a really tiny, like 1/16 of an inch edge around the whole card. Okay. So there's that. It's coming together so nicely. So we've got our stamped image here, our stamped sentiment. So we're gonna wanna keep that handy. But now we're gonna take our ribbon. Okay, and sticking with the all Starry Sky look that we've created, I'm going to now attach the Starry Sky Glimmer ribbon, or metallic ribbon. And I'm gonna use my tear tape. And what I'm gonna do first is I'm going to just take an edge like this, and I'm just gonna flip it over and attach it. So I'm not taking off that other side of the tape, it's just gonna hold it in place like that. And I'm not gonna cut the ribbon yet because I don't know how much I need. I wanna go around twice. So I'm just sort of, this ribbon is so soft and nice to work with. So I like the look of that. So now I'm gonna flip it over and hopefully it'll just stay in place like so. I'm going to take another piece of tear tape. And this time I wanna catch both of these pieces. Like so. And then I'll take my scissors and just trim that off. And we're done with the ribbon. So now we've got that beautiful glimmer to the front, and we can go ahead and attach this now. So I've attached mine with Stampin' Dimensional. So I've got this whole panel attached. And I find that one in the corners and one in the middle is plenty. we'll attach this. It's got a slightly larger border, this one does, like so. Nicely done. Okay, now we'll attach our sentiment, and I'm going to attach that right over top of where those ribbons crisscross by putting a dimensional on the top and the bottom of my punch out, and then placing that, keeping this line parallel with the other line just so it doesn't look crooked. Okay, well, now we're going to sprinkle these fish on. Again, we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals, my very favorite adhesive, as I'm sure you all know. We're going to attach our fish, so let's put one that way. Just sprinkle them wherever you want. If there's something on your card that you're a blemish that you're not pleased with, then use these to cover them up. Oops. And I've got these two I'm going to place as though they're swimming in a school, so they're swimming very close together. Okay, so we're almost done. The last thing I want to do is take some of our Rhinestone Basic Jewels. Let me just open this package up. These are so pretty, and what I love about these is they're so easy, along with a lot of our other embellishments as well, but they're so easy to color and have them in any color that you need for coordinating with your project. So I'm going to use the light Starry Sky blend, and I'm going to use the thicker end. Oh goodness. Okay, there we go. So we're going to use the thicker end, and I'm just going to color very gently. I'm not putting any pressure at all, just letting that tip touch these rhinestones. We don't want it to fray or part the end. So if you're really jabbing at it, it's going to split the tip, and then it's not going to be a very nice marker to use in the future. So we've got 5. You can color, obviously color and add as many as you like. But now we've got rhinestones that perfectly coordinate with our beautiful project we've just created. So all we've got left to do is add these pretty rhinestones to our project. And I'm going to have them a little different than I had on my original sample, just because of the way my background turned out. I do want to be able to see them. So I'm going to just stick some of them up here like so. And there we go. I do believe that we can stamp some images in here, which will help to cover some of these splatters that I did. So I'm going to show you a little trick. When you have this afterthought, as I often do, to stamp something beautiful on the inside, if you have a scrap piece of white paper, or any color would really work, but white is a little bit thinner, so white does tend to be the better option, and you just hold it up to where you're going to stamp. Now, because I don't have it covered there, I don't want to go over that edge. I don't want this to go onto my pool party. But I do want it to just not be the whole image. So I'm going to stamp that in the corner, like so. And then, as I mentioned, my favorite little bubbles here, we'll just stamp a few of them. Oh, let's put that back. All right, so there we go. We've covered up some of those little splatters that I sprayed on there when I sprayed my ink pad. And nobody will be the wiser. So we've got a beautiful inside, a gorgeous front with a new stamping technique using just ink, an acrylic stamp block, and a water spritzer. These are available in the annual catalog and on my online store. So there you go. Thank you so much for joining me tonight in my studio and for creating this beautiful fun card using the Seize the Day stamp set and our new stamping technique with the acrylic block. So until next time, everybody, have a fabulous creative day, and I'll see you back here real soon. Cheers.